Welcome back to the Ripewave Audio community. My name is John, and for this video, we continue our Ripewave Audio series on home theater amplifiers in 2022, and this one is for Wisdom Audio. And this whole series began with Monolith by Monoprice, followed by Emotiva, Tone Winner, Iota VX, Outlaw Audio, ATI Amplifier Technologies, OSD, NAD, Marantz, Yamaha, Onkyo Integra, Rotel, Arcam JBL Synthesis, AudioControl, Anthem, Starke Sound, Parasound, Primare, and this one, Wisdom Audio, is the 19th in the series. Now, Wisdom Audio began in 1996. This is a Carson City, Nevada-based company, and their original focus was making the best speakers they could using planar magnetics, and they also make amplifiers and other technologies. Now, we're going to particularly look at the amplifier-only versions of this series, the SA-2, the SA-3, the SA-8, and a special one there, subwoofer amplifier, the SW-1. Now, the SA series is also available with DSP as an option. We're not covering that part, but that is a unique feature of these amplifiers. But these are quite pricey, starting at over $9,000. We don't have an exact price. This is not a well-published series of amplifiers as far as public postings of the price list. So we did the best we could to collect it from this company that does cater to the real premium audience. Now let's get into this, and we'll start with the SA-2, which we believe to be around $9,600. This is a two-channel amplifier. It has balanced XLR connections only. There's no unbalanced connections on this. This was introduced in 2019 as a Class D amplifier, delivering 500 watts per channel into 4 ohms for those two channels. They don't publish an 8 ohm specification. Now, looking at this, they've got this kind of unique front here, which has some kind of rippling type texture to the front of it. I think that's kind of neat and unique there. Just a few LEDs on the front, and looking around to the back, it is quite simple here. They're using a type of speaker terminal here that we don't typically see. We haven't seen this so far in the series, and these are the Cardus style terminals. So this is a single large knob. You can tighten down on both the positive and negative terminals simultaneously. And we show a little blow up here of what that looks like. They do supply a ring style connector with these amplifiers. They are advocating for rings. So I guess you take it all apart, you slide the ring terminal in. So there's no way these things are going to slip off the terminal there. Looking inside the SA-2, we can see that this is a toroidal base power supply in here. We've got some capacitors. We can see some depopulated slots on the circuit board. So obviously they're using the same circuit board for the higher channel counts, and they can populate those as required there. So this is inside. The power supply does take up a good part of the chassis here. Looking at the next model up, the SA-3, so we believe this one to be a little bit more at $10,000. This is the 3 channels into 500 watts, 4 ohm rated Class D. So it's just the additional channel here, and we can see that it's using the same Cardus style speaker terminal on here with a single knob. And then the inside of the SA-3 shows those extra capacitors populated but otherwise this is the same interior with the toroidal style power supply. And then the SA-8. This is the 8-channel variant of this, and this is selling for around $17,250. Again, from 2019. Again, only taking balanced XLR connections. This is a little lower rating on the power output at 200 watts per channel. Now, the big difference on the back here is it's not using the Carta style because apparently they couldn't fit that in to do 8 channels altogether. So they went back to the standard binding post there. And the SW-1, this is the single channel subwoofer amplifier, I believe also from 2019. This is 1 channel of Class D, which delivers 230 watts per channel. Another difference with the SW-1 subwoofer amp is it is unbalanced connection versus balance. So for their subwoofer amp, they didn't feel it was necessary to use a balanced connection for whatever reason. And looking at these side by side, we can see how the family goes together. Fortunately, we don't have an interior shot of the SA-8. I would be curious to see what they're doing inside there versus the 2 and the 3 channel model. And the SW-1, I don't have a picture of either, so that would be nice to have to round out and have a better picture of the whole Wisdom Audio amplifier line. Looking now at the specifications, as mentioned before, these are all Class D amplifiers. The input impedance for all the SA models, the 2, the 3, and the 8, is 25 kiloohms for the balanced connections. Now the SW-1 is a balanced only at 47 kiloohms. They all have input and output triggers, and they all have an input sensitivity of 1.2 volts rated at 8 ohms. The cost per channel obviously is quite high. That's $4,800 for the 2-channel model, $3,333 for the 3-channel model, and $2,165 a channel for the SA-8. We don't have pricing data for the SW-1. We also don't know which Class D module they're using. Is it something of their own invention or something from a third party, a Hypex model or what have you? Each model is able to have a gain of at least 30 dBs, with the SA-2, 3, and SW-1 delivering 31 dBs of gain, and they all support 4 to 8 ohm load impedance, and none of them have an line output pass-through. All the SA models have an output power rating of 500 watts per channel into 4 ohm loads. Only the SA-8 do we get a specification for 8 ohm loads of 200 watts, so perhaps the 2 and the 3 are also 200 watts into 8 ohms. And the SW-1 delivers 230 watts into 8 ohms and 370 watts into 4 ohm loads. Nothing specified for 2 ohms. And they do this across a full spectrum, 20 to 20,000 hertz frequency range, and the measurement is at a 0.5% total harmonic distortion, at least for the SA models. We don't know the THD for the SW-1. Now the SA-2 and 3 have a signal-to-noise ratio of 103 decibels, whereas the SA-8 is specified at 110. So it suggests that there's something else going on inside of the SA-8. So we're very curious to see the inside of that, to why that might be higher there for that model. The dimensions for these, all the SA models, are the same: 3.8 inches high, 85.7 millimeters, 17 inches wide, 432 millimeters, 13.6 inches deep, 347 millimeters. The weight on these are only specified as shipping weights. We don't know the exact weight, so they're not going to be more than this. 40 pounds, 19 kilograms for the 2 and the 3. Now the SA-8 is much lower at 25 pounds, 11.5 kilograms. This difference suggests that they're not using a toroidal power supply on the SA-8, but we should investigate that. And the SW-1 at 12.2 pounds, 5.5 kilograms is the lightest of the bunch, and it's only doing a single channel. They all have IEC and removable power cords. They all support 120 volt or 240 volt input power, but you have to determine when you buy this because that's only settable by the factory on the SA models. The SW-1, it's auto sensing, so it's the same model internationally. The consumption for the SA models is at least 1,255 watts with a standby power of 10 watts. The SW-1 consumes 500 watts and has a standby of 10 watts. They do not specify slew rate, crosstalk, damping factor, but we don't see that any of these use a fan to cool them down. So that sums it up for Wisdom Audio. What do you think? What do you think about the high prices on these models? We don't see anything particularly unique here, not really any grand specification or any thing that would normally justify a higher price. What are they doing here? Are they just positioning themselves as a premium product, or is there something more to this that I am not seeing on this? They do have the unique Carta style binding post, but that can't equate to thousands of dollars more over something that would be otherwise equivalent in specifications, channel count, and maybe the weight of the product. But yeah, what are your thoughts here on Wisdom Audio? That feedback would be useful to the RipeWave Audio community. And if you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to take it to that next level, consider joining as a Patreon at www.patreon.com/RipeWave. And you'll have access to the full database of all these 19 brands of amplifiers that we've reviewed so far, as well as some preamplifier and AVR models as well. And of course, you can always hit that bell icon so you'll be notified when the next video is posted. Until then, keep evolving your audio experience.